Husband made me coffee that smelled weird, so I switched with Abusive Mills. 20 minutes later, when my husband set the coffee cup in front of me, I knew something was off. He smiled too wide, too rehearsed. It was the same fake smile he used when he told me my promotion was just luck. The same smile he wore when I woke up in the hospital 3 months ago after food poisoning. But it was the smell that froze me. Sweet, but underneath, sharp like bitter almonds. I remembered from chemistry class. Cyanide. Some people can smell it. I'd always been lucky like that. Lucky, right? "Drink up, honey," my husband said, settling opposite me at the dining table. Beside him, his mother, my controlling, always watching mother-in-law, sat like a sour statue. "It's getting cold," she hissed, her lips pulled tight. "He went to so much trouble for you." I lifted the cup, pretending to take a sip while I watched my husband's eyes. They were locked on my mouth. His hands were white-knuckled on the table. "I need the bathroom," I blurted, standing up. His face twitched. Panic. Disappointment. "Of course, dear," but his voice cracked. In the bathroom, I stared at my pale face. 3 months of stomach cramps, vomiting, hospital visits. No answers, just stress, they'd said. Stress from work, stress from my promotion, stress from her, my mother-in-law moving in after her fall. I splashed cold water on my face. Maybe stress didn't smell like poison. When I came back, they were whispering, heads bent too close. They jumped apart when they saw me. "Everything all right?" he asked, voice too sweet. "Perfect," I lied. I picked up the cup again, my hands steady now. I had a plan. "You look tired," I said to my mother-in-law. Her eyes flicked up, suspicious. "Would you like some coffee?" "There's plenty." Oh, I couldn't. But I saw it then. The longing. She adored coffee. He never made it for her. "I insist," I said. I stood, walked to the kitchen, grabbed a clean mug. I poured from the same pot. No bitter almond scent this time. Just normal coffee. When I came back, I placed the fresh cup in front of her. Then I adjusted my napkin and swapped our cups. "There you go," I said sweetly. "Enjoy." Her eyes lit up. "Thank you, dear." She lifted the cup, my cup, and drank deep. My husband's face drained of color. "Mom, maybe you shouldn't, what?" she snapped. "Finally, enjoy something in this house." She gulped half of it in 3 big swallows. I sat back, waited. It didn't take long. 15 minutes. Her hand started to shake. She set the cup down too hard. I don't feel well," she whispered. "Oh no," I gasped, leaning forward. "What's wrong?" She blinked, her eyes glassy. "I'm hot, dizzy." Her words slurred. "Mom," my husband's voice cracked. "How much did you drink?" "Most," her head led. She didn't finish the sentence. She convulsed. The chair toppled as she hit the floor. "No," he dropped to his knees beside her. "You weren't supposed to drink that." I stood up slowly, pulling out my phone. "I'm calling 911. "Wait." He grabbed my wrist hard enough to bruise. "You don't understand?" I understand," I said, pulling free. "You've been poisoning me for months, just enough to make me sick. Look unstable. So the firm would doubt me so you'd get my promotion." His eyes were wild. It wasn't supposed to be like this. She wasn't. But his mother was foaming at the mouth, her eyes rolling back. I dialed calmly. "Hello. I need an ambulance. Cyanide poisoning." My address is. He was sobbing now, cradling her limp body. She was helping me. She said, "You were out of control. You needed to be stopped." I looked at him, his pathetic man, his perfect plan, his perfect mother. The paramedics carried her out. It was too late. When the police came, I showed them the receipt I'd photographed, the hidden bottle I'd found in his dark room, The emails she sent him about how to handle me. He screamed my name when they put him in the car. I just watched him go. Then I went back inside. A tie made myself fresh. Coffee, black, honest, safe. I sat alone at my kitchen table, the same place I'd almost died. 20 minutes after my husband set the coffee cup in front of me. I knew something was wrong. He smiled at me too wide, too rehearsed. It was that same fake smile he wore when he downplayed my promotion, calling it luck. The same smile I saw 3 months ago when I woke up in the hospital after my third mystery illness. But it wasn't just the smile, it was the smell. Sweet, cloying, and underneath, sharp. Bitter almonds. I remembered from chemistry class, cyanide. Most people can't smell it, but I could. I used to call it my lucky trait. Lucky, right? Drink. Up, honey, my husband said smoothly, settling across the table from me. His hands rested on the edge of the table, knuckles bone white. Beside him, his mother sat like a stone idol, my overbearing, ever-present mother-in-law who'd moved in temporarily after her fall and never left. Kea, eyes cold and watchful, pinned me down. "It's getting cold," she hissed, lips tight. "He went to so much trouble for you." I lifted the cup, my fingers steady, only because I forced them to be. His eyes followed every movement. "I need the bathroom," I blurted suddenly. His face twitched panic, then disappointment, but he forced a nod. "Of course." "Dear," he said, but his voice cracked. I walked calmly, carefully, to the bathroom, shut the door, and stared at myself in the mirror. My skin was pale, my eyes hollow. 3 months of stomach cramps, vomiting, fainting spells. The doctors had blamed stress, work stress, promotion stress, home stress, especially since his mother moved in. But deep down, I'd wondered. I splashed cold water on my face. What if it wasn't stress at all? When I returned, they were whispering, their heads bent too close, their voices low. They jumped apart when they saw me. "Everything all right?" my husband asked. "It's too sweet." "Perfect," I lied. I sat back down. My plan forming, I picked up the cup again. "You look tired," I said lightly to my mother-in-law. Her eyes snapped to mine, sharp and suspicious. "I'm fine," she said, but I saw it then, the flicker. The longing glance at my cup, she adored. Coffee, always had, and he never made it for her. "I insist," I smiled. "You deserve it." Her lips parted. Oh, I couldn't, but I was already up. In the kitchen, I poured her a fresh cup from the same pot. This time, I didn't smell almonds, just normal coffee. When I returned, I placed it in front of her. Then, smoothly, I adjusted my napkin and switched our cups. "There you go," I said sweetly. "Enjoy." Her eyes lit up. "Thank you, dear," she cooed, lifting my cup, the poisoned one to her lips. My husband's face drained of color. "Mom, maybe you shouldn't." "Shouldn't what?" she snapped, glaring at him. "Finally enjoy something in this house." She gulped it down. 1 swallow. 2, 3. I sat back, calm, waiting. 15 minutes later, it started. Her hand trembled. The cup slipped, clattering onto the table. "I don't feel well," she whispered, clutching her chest. "Oh no," gasped, leaning forward in mock concern. "What's wrong?" Her words slurred. "Hot, dizzy." "Mom?" My husband yelped, panic breaking through his voice. "How much did you drink?" "Most." Her head lolled. She didn't finish the sentence. Then she convulsed. The chair tipped, crashing to the floor as she went down hard, foam at her lips. "No." He dropped to his knees, cradling her. "Mom, you weren't supposed to drink that." I stood slowly, calmly, and pulled out my phone. "I'm calling 911. He lunged, gripping my wrist hard enough to bruise. "Wait, you don't understand?" "Oh, I understand," I said coldly, jerking free. "You've been poisoning me for months, just enough to make me sick, to make me look unstable, so my firm would doubt me, so you could take my promotion." His eyes were wild. It wasn't supposed to be like this. But his mother was convulsing, gasping wetly. He looked at her. Horrified she was helping me, he choked out. "She said you were out of control, that you needed to be stopped." I dialed calmly. "Hello? I need an ambulance. Cyanide poisoning." He screamed my name as paramedics rushed in. Handed over the receipts I'd photographed the hidden bottle I'd found in his darkroom. The emails from his mother advising him on how to handle me. When the police put him in the car, he was sobbing, screaming for me. I just watched. Silent, they carried her out in a black bag. It was too late. When the house emptied, I made myself a fresh pot of coffee. Black, honest, safe. I sat at the kitchen table, alone now. The same table where I'd almost died, and I drank. 8 years ago, my brother stole my millionaire fiancée, the woman I was about to marry. Now, at our mother's funeral, he walked in with her, flashing his diamond ring, and said, "Poor you." Still alone at 40, I got the woman, the money, and the mansion. I smiled, turned to him, and said, "Have you met my wife yet?" When I called her over, his face went pale. Because actually, my wife was chapter 1. The funeral and the ghosts of the past 8 years. That's how long it had been since I last saw my brother. Not since the day I walked into my penthouse and found him kissing my fiancée. My then fiancée, Alyssa. The same woman I'd met during a charity auction, who once said she couldn't imagine life without me. The same woman who'd spent 2 years pretending to plan our wedding, only to vanish 1 week before it, leaving a 3-word note on my dresser. "It's your brother." I cut them both off. No dramatic confrontation, no revenge, just silence. I walked away from my life in New York, disappeared, and started over. But fate has a funny sense of humor. Today was our mother's funeral. It was raining, cold. My suit clung to my shoulders. The cemetery was quiet, except for the crunch of gravel as his footsteps approached behind me. I didn't turn at first. I didn't need to. His voice oozed the same arrogance it always had. "Poor you," he said with a smirk. Still alone at 40. I got the woman, the money, and the mansion. Life's funny, huh? I turned slowly, and there he was. Julian, my younger brother, taller now, wearing a custom Armani coat, his arm around Alyssa, who looked exactly like the last time I saw her, flawless. And calculating, she held up her hand as if taunting me. A massive diamond ring glinted in the gray light, still single. She asked sweetly. I didn't answer. I just smiled. "Have you met my wife yet?" They blinked. I turned slightly, lifted my hand, and beckoned. A graceful figure stepped out from the black SUV behind me, heels tapping softly on the gravel. When she reached my side, Julian's smirk vanished. His eyes widened. Alyssa's jaw tightened because the woman walking toward me was not just beautiful. She was the one person Julian thought he'd never see again, and the key to a plan I had been building for nearly 8 years. "This," I said calmly, "is my wife. But you may know her better as someone you once left humiliated in front of half your company. She used to be your executive assistant, remember?" His face turned a shade of ash. He remembered, and that's when I knew. They had no idea how much damage was already in motion. Chapter 2. Secrets, Tension, and the Setup. Julian stood frozen as if his brain was struggling to reconcile the image before him. Beside me, my wife Alina extended her hand toward Alyssa, her smile razor-thin. "Alyssa," she said smoothly, "it's been a long time. The last time we met, you told Me, I wasn't good enough to be in the same room as your future husband. Alyssa's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her confidence was unraveling. Julian's voice broke through the tension. Wait, you married her? I smiled. Oh, yes. I married the woman who worked behind the scenes while you two played king and queen. The one you bared in board meetings. The one you fired to make room for Alyssa's cousin. And she's now the CFO of a company you've been trying to invest in for 2 years. His jaw clenched. That's not possible. Alina raised an eyebrow. Oh, it's more than possible. It's poetic. They didn't know the half of it. Flashback 8 years earlier. After Alyssa left, I disappeared. I moved across the country, cut ties, changed. Careers, my heart was in ruins. But I didn't let it harden. I let it focus. It was in Seattle that I met Alina. She was intelligent, humble, and had the kind of inner fire that couldn't be faked. She'd been working in corporate finance, underpaid, undervalued, and overlooked. I hired her as a consultant for a modest logistics business I'd quietly built. And we clicked professionally, personally, soulfully. We didn't rush into love. It grew from partnership, from shared late nights building budgets and strategy, from unspoken glances that said, we're going to be something big. What Julian and Alyssa had was a lie built on seduction and ego. What we had was purpose. And now Alina and I were the silent owners of one of the largest privately held logistics firms in the U.S., a firm that just happened to be in final acquisition. Talks with Julian's latest startup. He didn't know yet. Back to the funeral, the silence returned. I looked around at the funeral guests. All family, all pretending not to hear, except one. My aunt leaned in and whispered, "You've changed." I smiled politely. I'd just finally started playing chess instead of checkers. Julian shifted uncomfortably. So what? This is revenge. No, I said calmly. This is justice, and I haven't even unwrapped the real gift yet. Alyssa blinked. What does that mean? I checked my watch. It means you two should probably check your inboxes before the reception. The NDA you both signed years ago. The one you thought was buried. Let's just say it's about to make headlines. Alina touched my hand gently. Shall we go? She asked. I nodded. Yes. Let's leave them to enjoy the storm. As we turned to leave, Julian frantically pulled out his phone. I didn't have to look back, too. No, his world was already beginning to fall apart. Chapter 3. The Storm Hits. As Alina and I walked toward our car, the chill of the funeral morning gave way to something warmer. Satisfaction. We didn't say much. We didn't need to. Back at the hotel, I opened my laptop. Alina pulled out a bottle of wine. Not for celebration, but for ceremony. This was a moment 8 years in the making. I logged into the private server. Operation Comeuppance. Live with a single keystroke. I triggered the release of 2 key documents to the media and several regulatory authorities, a detailed timeline of Julian's financial fraud hidden under shell companies that he used to funnel investor money into luxury assets, including the mansion he had just shown off at the funeral. Clip from a private conversation recorded by his own company's smartboard system, where he and Alyssa discussed insider trading related to a biotech merger she had access to through a former employer. Both were damning, both were real, and both were legally obtained. Thanks to the NDAs they smugly signed all those years ago when they used Alina's position to quietly embezzle and manipulate quarterly forecasts. That's the part Julian never understood. Alina wasn't just smart, she was patient, and I had become her scalpel. Hours later, Julian's voice was a shriek through the phone when he called me. You bastard. What the hell did you do? My board just suspended me. Suspended, pending investigation. You think you've won? I sipped my coffee. No, Julian, I know I've won. You just don't know how deep this goes yet. This is illegal. I'll sue. You, Alina, kept copies of everything. Julian, her name is still on the original documents. Remember the email she sent asking you to clarify a few financial entries you brushed off? Those emails now sit with federal investigators. What about Alyssa? You're ruining her, too. I paused, then said coldly, she ruined herself when she laughed in my face the night before our wedding and climbed into your bed. Silence. Then a faint, hollow whisper. We were just kids. No, Julian, I was a kid. You were a snake in a suit, and now everyone knows it. Meanwhile, across town, Alyssa was packing her things. The moment the scandal broke, her company terminated her. Her face was already trending. On business gossip blogs, her reputation was radioactive. She tried to call me twice. I didn't answer. Then she tried Alina text. I know I was wrong. I didn't deserve either of you. Please don't destroy us any further. Can we talk? Alina forwarded the message to me without comment. I typed only one word in reply. No. That night, Alina and I watched the news quietly as Julian's mug shot appeared on screen. High-profile startup. Executive Julian rearrested this evening following an SEC raid prompted by insider trading and wire fraud allegations. More updates as the story develops. Elenina raised her glass to poetic justice. I clinketed mine with hers to closure. Chapter 4. Rock Bottom and Revelations. 2 weeks later, Julian's face was plastered across every major business outlet. Headlines screamed his downfall. Tech wonderkin implodes in sex scandal. From CEO to cell block, Julian Rees behind bars. Power couple caught in fraud web. Alyssa James terminated amid investigation. His investors had pulled out. His board had dissolved the startup. The mansion he flaunted at our mother's funeral. Frozen assets. Even the diamond ring Alyssa bragged about seized. But what really brought it full circle? A letter I received in the mail from Julian, handwritten. I don't expect forgiveness, but I need to say it. You were the better man. You always were. I destroyed everything I touched, including her. I never saw it until it was too late. The woman? You married Alina? I used to mock you for staying by her side. Now I see. She's the only person in this entire story who actually grew stronger through pain. Please don't let her destroy me further. You've made your point. I've lost everything. I showed it to Elena. She didn't flinch. Instead, she picked it up and slowly folded it. Then she said something I'll never forget. Closure isn't about giving them peace. It's about choosing not to let their ashes blow into your future. We burned the letter that night. Meanwhile, Alyssa tried her final play. She showed up at my apartment. Makeup smudged, hair disheveled, no cameras, no entourage. Just a woman who once thought she ruled my world, now begging to be let back in. I didn't come for pity, she said. I came because I don't know where else to go. I stood in the doorway, silent. Everything's gone, she whispered. He's in jail. I have no job, no money, no friends. I wake up screaming from the guilt. But when I saw you, happy, whole, I remembered what it felt like to be safe, and I ruined it. She paused. Can we just talk? I didn't yell. I didn't laugh. I just smiled softly and replied, Alyssa, there's nothing left for us to talk about. You broke something I never tried to replace. I just built something better without you. Then I gently closed the door. Later that night, Alina and I sat in our quiet kitchen, watching the city lights flicker. Do you feel better? She asked. I feel free, I said. She rested her head on my shoulder. Not all revenge needs fire and fury, she murmured. Sometimes Best revenge is peace. Chapter 5. The Final Toast. 6 months later, the world had moved on. Julian's court date made headlines for a few weeks before being buried beneath newer scandals. Alyssa attempted a short-lived redemption arc online. But the public wasn't interested in a disgraced ex-fiancé tied to fraud. As for me, I didn't just survive, I thrived. I had launched a new consulting firm, quiet, under the radar, and 100% mine. No partners, no sharks in the tank, just me and a carefully selected team. Within months, we had more clients than we could handle. Apparently, a man who walked away from betrayal with silence and strategy intrigued people. Alina and I had become something I never expected. True partners. We didn't pretend the past hadn't happened. Instead, we built something honest at top. The wreckage, stronger, calmer, real. And then came the night of my 40th birthday. I didn't throw a party. Instead, Alina handed me a glass of whiskey, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "Come out to the balcony." There, under the glow of city lights, stood a small table, 2 chairs, 1 cake, and a little red envelope. I opened it. Inside was a single photo, me at 28, dressed for a wedding that never happened. Alone, hurt, hollow. On the back, Alina had written, "You were never broken. You were just being carved into the man you were meant to become. Happy birthday." My eyes welled up, but I didn't cry. I lifted my glass and toasted the night sky. "To betrayal," I said, smiling. "Because sometimes it sets you free." Epilogue. Months later, I heard from a friend that Julian had struck a plea deal. He'd serve time, then disappear into obscurity. Alyssa? Rumor had it she was working retail under a fake name out of state. No more glamour, no more applause. But me, I didn't need revenge anymore. Because the best revenge wasn't watching them suffer. It was standing taller, rising further, and living a life so full and peaceful. Their names felt like dust in the wind. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you would have done. In the comments below, like the story. Share it with someone who needs this energy, and subscribe to Revenge Exposed for more jaw-dropping tales of betrayal and justice. Because here, every lie has its reckoning, and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay sharp, stay strong, and stay tuned.